Hi guys, so before we get into it, a quick disclaimer that there will be mild spoilers today, but I don't think it will affect your enjoyment of the movie. So this summer, the fifth and final Hell House is due to come out, so I thought this would be the ideal time to do a review series for this, and eventually I'll cover the new release when it comes out as well. I had previously seen two of these years ago, and I remembered them being pretty good, so coming into this, I figured that I was getting at least two movies of a decent quality, plus three brand new Hell House movies that I'd not seen before. This is a series which I kind of feel deserves a little bit more traction. Like, if you go out to a bar on your own and just turn to the nearest guy to you, a little bit further down the bar, and if you say to him, "Hey, Hell House," the response you'll probably get is underrated. Trust me on this. Go out, experiment, do that, and that is exactly what will happen. I've gone around in the past saying the words Hell House to loads of strangers, at least until the court order. So this first movie is about this group of people who own this haunted walking tour. Actually, I think it's one guy who owns it and the rest of them just work for him. And they rent this house on the outskirts of New York, and the idea is that they're going to do it up, turn it into a haunt. I don't know what you call these things. Do you call them Halloween haunts? In my mind, they're just like ghost trains that you walk around. So what you'll do is you'll pay $10 on the door or whatever. You'll take a preordained route through the house, up, down in the basement, around back, and then circle back to the exit, and you'll be scared along the way by various attractions and ghosts hanging off the ceiling and bits and bats, you know. But in this movie, the house that they've rented is haunted, and when loads of people turn up for the opening night, it seems to anger the spirits, and a load of deaths happen among the customers and the organisers. And what this movie is a kind of horror documentary covering those events on opening night. So we see interview clips and things, and this is interspersed with clips of the found footage taken by the organisers in the days leading up to the opening night. This was directed and written by a guy called Steven Cognetti. This was his first foray into horror, and he would go on to write and direct all the other Hell House movies as well. He's like Mr. Hell House. This must be like a big passion project for him. So I feel as though you're guaranteed quality with all of these movies, because you just know this guy is going to be moving heaven and earth to make them good. And just this year, actually, he has done his first horror movie which is not a Hell House. So he's done this film called 825 Forest Road for Shudder, and I might be tempted to check that one out actually after I'm done with Hell House, just assuming that Cognetti is not in my bad books or anything by the time I get to the end of the fifth movie. One thing that has dogged me both times I've watched this movie is that I can't help pondering the real-life viability of Hell House LLC. I can't help it. I suspect that it's my educational background in business management that's driving my brain towards doing this. But if we just stop to consider the logistics for a moment. Okay, so these guys, they're renting this massive house, which will absolutely cost a pretty penny to rent. And there's five of them who are setting up this haunted walking tour for about a month. But what are they living on in the meantime? Where's the income coming from to support five people at a time where they're not bringing in any revenue from the door? And they're spending all this money on CCTV and monitors, walkie-talkies, props, costumes, other miscellaneous items. The electric will need paying for. They've got actors who turn up to take part in this thing. They will need paying by the hour as well. Now, obviously, once the doors open and people start paying and coming in, there will be a revenue stream, but is it really going to be that busy past opening night? Because it surely won't take long before people in the general area have been and seen this place. I don't think it's like a restaurant where if you like it, you might go back once a week. Once you've seen the inside of this place, then you've done it, you know. So I'm not massively convinced by this business model. I actually think it's a good thing that the spirits kill all of these characters, because if that didn't happen, I think the bank manager would be coming for them the following week. Like, where's our frigging business loan? Structurally, this film takes a bold move in showing you the chaos of opening night straight away in the first scene. And then we go back into the past about a month and start working our way back towards the opening night chaos again, but from a different angle. But it's fine because the first time around, we don't really see what's causing all the deaths. We can just hear distant screams in other rooms, mainly coming from the basement. The camera always seems to be behind other people's bodies as well. Normally, though, I don't like this type of plot device, this idea of showing you something big and then putting something on screen that says, oh, 3 hours earlier, 2 weeks earlier, 5 years earlier. I don't like it when they do that, but in this movie, it's fine somehow because of the way that they do it. But the absolute best thing in this film is the clown. What is it about horror movies and clowns? There are several clowns in this, but there's one in particular that's clearly possessed by whatever spirit is in the house. And it basically moves when other people aren't looking at it. So a lot of the best scenes in this involve, say, people wandering around in the dead of night with a camcorder, and they will come across the clown, which basically operates like a 6-foot Annabelle doll. And it'll pop up on like the stairs or in a corridor. Sometimes characters will look away, and when they look back at the clown, its head will have moved so that it's turning and looking right at them. It really got the goose flesh going on my arms. I think this clown turns up in the second film as well. I could be wrong. What I'm really hoping for is that the clown will be in all 5 movies. Please make it happen, Mr. Cognetti. The documentary side of things is not the film's strong suit. A lot of the interview clips are hampered by bad acting, overacting. I'll give you a couple of examples of the sorts of things you might hear during the interviews. You've got to wonder what's been lingering in that house. And judging by the amount of blood we found, I've got to say, I'm not sure the public's ready to find out what truly went on in that basement. Maybe they should never find out. It's like, Jesus, are you trying for an Oscar or what? It's a bit like the end of Friday the 13th where you hear that sheriff go, we never found no boy. You know, like overacting from people who've only got like 1 or 2 lines. This is where Cognetti shows his inexperience a little bit. He really needed to get on top of these extras and just get them to sound a little bit more normal. Like he's really good at the scares, like the meat of the pie, but a bit more attention to the trimmings around the outside when it comes to this movie would have been very welcome. I would have liked more interview clips as well with the people who go down into the basement, like the punters who would have like seen things over other people's shoulders and then just about managed to get out. A lot of the people being spoken to, though, by the documentarians are like Fireman 3 and Policeman 2, people who weren't actually there. Also, there's a finale on top of the finale in this film where the documentary makers go to the house themselves for the one final scare scene, but I don't think this is quite the explosion of terror that the writer hoped that it would be. By the time you get towards that finale, don't get too excited. You've already seen this film's best material. One thing I noticed only in the rewatch is that the characters aren't very good. There's not one good character in this movie. The main guy, Alex, he's so worried about opening night going off without a hitch that he pretty much keeps his entire personality bottled up inside. We don't really see the best of him. All of his colleagues or employees, they all feel like the same person somehow. None of them are that passionate about what they're doing. They just seem like a group who are doing any old random day job. If I was doing a haunted walking tour, I'd be really enthusiastic about it. I'd be so excited. I'd be like a guy who's had too many coffees. It doesn't help that these people severely overreact whenever the scares are happening. They're like a bunch of schoolgirls at times. I get that there's an evil clown on the stairs and no one knows how it got there, but let's have some measure of self-control, please. One of the 5 is a woman. I can't remember her name. She looks like a Leanne, but I don't think she is. But she's got hardly any personality. I get that she's possessed for like half the movie, but even when she's not possessed, she's got that same half-asleep persona. There's another girl in this who plays the actor who's chained up in the basement. She's only in about 3 scenes, but she shows way more spark. She's got a lovely smile. I think they should have swapped those 2 actresses around, personally. But overall, when it comes to the characters, I just feel like this group of people are fatigued from having done like 6 or 7 of these walking haunts. And I think for the good of the movie, it should have been their very first To sum up, I've still got a hell of a lot of respect for Hell House, despite my criticisms in this review. I do, though, think that I built this one up in my head as something of a stone-cold found-footage classic. It's not quite that. It's a film that, if you rewatch it several times, you might notice more and more cracks around the outside, whereas first time it just feels so new and fresh, and your brain will focus more on the good stuff, like everything that's going on with the clown. But I really like films like this that involve ghost trains or the walking versions of that. The all-time best for me would be Haunt, that came out just a few years ago, but then if you go back further, Tobe Hooper's Funhouse. There's also a film called The Houses That October Built. If you know any more, then drop them in the comments. I'm not sure you'd call this sort of thing its own subgenre, but it is a type of horror movie that I really like. Now, going forwards, I think they dropped the whole Halloween Haunt thing for the second one, but I'm absolutely on board with that. I think from this point on, the series just becomes a bunch of films about a haunted house. But that's fine, because I don't think you could have another group of people coming in to take over the House LLC business, and then they'll be like, oh, I see the guys who did this before all died. Well, let's hope things go better on our opening night. No, you can't really do that. So it's fine, but we'll say more about number 2 when we get to it. So we've reached that point where we go to the bag of terror, so I can show you the score that I'm going to give this movie. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 3.5 Michael Myers. Oh, dropped one. It is 3.5. It's not 2.5. Michael Myers carving knives out of 5. Before I rewatched the movie, I might have predicted that this would be like 4 or 4.5. Not quite that, but still really good, and I definitely enjoyed it. So that is it for the original Hell House. My intended forthcoming reviews from here. I'm going to do a 1970s film called Persecution, another Tyburn, and then Children of the Corn 4, and then Hell House 2. I think that's the forthcoming schedule, but could change. But for now, I thank you for joining me once again, and I'll see you all again next time. Bye-bye.